them fired up and get them to the staging lanes, baby, because 8th Mile Apparel is now carrying Going Bracket Racing merch. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and much more can be yours today by visiting 8thmileapparel.com. We appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the Going Bracket Racing YouTube and Facebook pages.
What's up, everybody? It's June 3rd, 2025, episode, I believe, 195 of the Going Bracket Racing podcast, presented to you every single week by the great folks at TSR Racing Products. Get your Power Glide, Turbo 350, 400, 727 racing parts for your transmissions from those guys over there. Great customer service, great to talk to, help you out with all your problems. Brian Garrett, BRG 3D printed parts, anything you need. He can print it up for you. He can make anything happen, any kind of custom parts you need. If you want to mount one of those fancy Fuel Tech units, Holley units, anything like that, they don't really have that great of a mounting system for all kinds of cars. If you want something custom, get some dimensions together and he'll print all that stuff out for you, make it fit like it was supposed to be in that race car, yours or your street car, anything, whatever you want. Driven Racing Oil. Get you some Driven Racing Oil for your tow truck. Get it for your race car. Get you some transmission fluid. Get you some rear end oil. They got cleaning products, best cleaning products out there, really. But more importantly, use the code GBR10 and get yourself 10% off of all of that order. There's no limit on any of that. GBR10 gets you 10% off from here on out. Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. Sticker shirts, brochures, anything you need for your business. Syntex Printing will get that printed up for you. You need some new decals for your race car. Go over there to Syntex Printing and get that stuff printed up, sent out to you. Proform Parts. Visit proformparts.com for your shop tools, carburetors, starters, alternators, radiators, accessories, tools, all kinds of stuff. They got new stuff coming out every single day, proformparts.com. Crew Chief Pro software, if you still haven't got your race car figured out, you still don't know what it's going to run, you might need to go over to crewchiefpro.com and get you a copy of that Crew Chief Pro software, and it'll give you some tips and tricks on how you can go dead on every single run. And, of course, Gearhead Solutions. Let me tell you, y'all need to get with Gearhead over there and got access to literally anything you want. Thousands and thousands of vendors. Trevor over there, great customer service and usually the best prices. And more importantly, even beyond everything else, can usually get it to you quicker than everybody else. And we all know how important that is because every once in a while you go out there on a Thursday night and you say, oh, man, I need this to go racing this weekend. Call Gearhead Solutions and you can probably have it there by Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on where you're at. And get you to the racetrack. And, of course, visit 8thmileapparel.com, get your GBR hats, hoodies, and any kind of other stuff that we come up with. T-shirts, of course, T-shirts. Got to have some T-shirts, 8thmileapparel.com. George, it's episode 195, man. I know you were out racing a few weeks ago at the old Texas Motorplex Flicker Promotions race, going a few rounds out there in the old GBR S10.
The dime.
What's been going on?
The dime, that's all I got to tell you, man. Not much, man. Just enjoying quite the mild, I call it a mild spring because I guess it's not summer yet, which doesn't make much sense because it feels like it should be summer. Is it summer technically? Don't get me lying.
It's fixing to be this week at my house, I can tell you that.
I think it's fixing to be everywhere except for, man, it's supposed to rain every other day here in Sherman. And, of course,
hey, I tell you what.
Huh?
My front ditch, I got stuck in that thing last night. I decided that I was like, oh, I'm going to mow this ditch down because it's going to be hot this week finally. It's going to get towards 90 at the end of the week. And I've been waiting for it, man. I've been waiting for it to finally get hot because I have a terrible drainage problem in my front yard on the way to the pond. And luckily it's way out there and it's just a small area now. But you know how it's been ever since I bought this house. I work on it every single year trying to fix some part of the yard, and I've reclaimed about an acre of it. And but man, I got the lawnmower stuck 3 times in probably, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. I'd pull it out with a 4-wheeler 3 or 4 times, and I finally said, up, guess I got to weed eat this, trying to be lazy and be able to cut through it and
That
weed
didn't
eat.
work.
Get to do that weed eating.
That didn't work. It's hot enough, Edward Navarez says. Man, yeah, it's hot enough. I will say that. And like I said, I'm in North Texas. I want to say I've only seen one 100-degree day in North Texas. It's not normal at this time of year, guys. So enjoying that quite a bit, Casey, man, and just trying to have fun, man. Before we get off into this stream, though, let's go ahead and do a little clerical work, because I know one race in particular that I wish I was about 11, 12 hours to the north, up there in Yankee Doodle Dandy land. June 20th through the 22nd. I wish I was at Midstate for the Twin Tens. Of course, this schedule doesn't show that the 2nd and the 4th marked off there, but hey, we're going to have a Twin Tens race coming up. And that's at the end of the month here. So, hey, 10s on the top. Heck of a payout program. $175,000 in guaranteed payouts. I know I've seen some free entries into the OG Million at least once or twice, or 5 or 10 times coming out of this particular area of our drag racing community. Guys, if you're anywhere near Midstate Dragway out there in Havana, Illinois, this bracket series is something that you shouldn't be missing. You shouldn't be missing. I don't care if you're a weekend warrior, a big money bracket racer, or just even the mid-level racer. This is something that you should not be missing at all. Very affordable to enter. Going to be a great crowd of people to have a lot of fun with, especially from the bracket racing community. We always have fun when we get together in the first place. Let alone you'll likely see quite a few spectators and some good food out there in that concession stand. So,
and don't forget also, free $10,000 shootout to people who finish, I want to say, top 30 or 32 in points.
32 of them, man.
Free $10,000 shootout.
Actually, let's take it back. It is 30. It's 30, but there will be 2 wild cards drawn, is what I think it is there. I had to lean in a little closer. It's so small on my screen here, but hey, you got any questions? I got answers, and if I don't got them, well, I know the person who will have them. 1 or 2 or 3 of them. So trust me, you got any questions on this race, I've got you covered. Make sure you're there. I think there's a race September 12th through the 14th, and I feel like that's the week before the OG in the first place. There's no reason for you not to hit this little race right here before you head over to St. Louis. That's all I'm going to say about that. We're going to start that going right now. I mean, I'm putting out some serious planning for you guys as you get ready to travel up to Havana. Just leave about a few days early. Go to Havana for the Midstate Tens. Get you a little bit of buyback money, or even pay for your whole trip if you so happen to find your way in the winner's circle standing next to that GBR logo out there at that track. Casey.
Yeah, man. I think that what they're doing up there at Midstate is extremely cool, especially, again, that $10,000 free shootout for anybody who participated in the series throughout the year. All your main participants are getting just stuff handed back to them saying thanks. Very, very cool thing that they're doing.
Definitely something I'd still, as we have been more so covering this particular series for a majority of a year, almost a little bit over a year now, I want to say. It's just that. It's a point series. It's the things that we used to love about being bracket racers, competing in a points program for some interesting things at the end of the year. So, yeah, definitely get on out there and race that race, man. I expect to see about 450 entries. At the same time, and under the same breath, Casey, man, I'm pretty sure Midstate's closed for a couple of days, couple of weeks even, because I know for a fact I saw some big equipment out there leveling that place off, laying more dirt, getting ready to lay some more asphalt. They're making the renovations there. They are putting out there what needs to be to enhance their racetrack into a more racer-friendly atmosphere, even though it was already friendly in the first place. It's getting better and better, man. So you always want to follow those who are continually improving their program. Midstate just so happens to be one of those.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, man. So yeah, no, let's get off into the conversation for today, man. Pump the brakes. And I know I spelled brakes wrong to some of y'all. I really didn't. You'll figure out what I mean by that here in a little bit. Just trying to be funny. I actually did spell it wrong, but when I talked to Casey, I had such a good reason why I spelled it wrong that we just left it there. But anyway, guys, yeah, man, Casey, I got a chance to go out there to that spring Stampede, man. Let's start there. I want to say it was a heck of a race. One thing that I like about what we do as a community is we always find a way to have a good time. The pits was jam packed. I seen several different streams going on as they were watching Motor Mania stream the race. I seen a projector, which I'm probably going to wind up with myself, Casey. That was one heck of an idea where the projector is just huge on the side of a trailer. The race is on, the sound is up, you can hear it, all of it. But just the atmosphere itself being around racers. Eric and Cody put down some real good food. We got to eat good, all of that, man. So let's dive into that race, Casey, as we talk about it. Did you get to watch much of it or no?
Every once in a while, I would basically turn it on just to kind of search for where you were at, really. I was working on stuff that weekend, pulling a motor apart. So I did have it on, wasn't paying super close attention. Basically, I'd watch and see what happened with your runs, and then it would still be on in the shop, but I wouldn't necessarily be totally tuned into it. So give me a rundown on what's what with it.
Let's break it down. Let's start with Friday, man. So, like we said, Crew Chief Pro. That gets you dialed in right off the bat, man. Right off the rip. You come off the trailer. If you have any data in that area, which I had some data for the area, Crew Chief's going to spit you something out that'll put you on the number. It did not disappoint. Crew Chief said I was going to run I think 598 with a 7. I want to say I ran a 598 with a 6.
Close enough.
Close enough. I ain't asking for it. If it would have just said 598,
yeah, I'd be cool with that.
All of us is cool, right? And then that's exactly what the car ran. So I come off the trailer first round Friday, feeling pretty good. It's like, all right, Crew Chief's already got me dialed up where I need to be. Well, that was about 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Boy, I want to tell you, Satan must have burped or belched or just blew his breath on the racetrack that weekend because it was hot. And I'm going to tell you, it was hot, just super hot. It was really, it was Illinois humid or Houston humid the way I felt it. That's being dramatic, all right? Not as humid as that, but the humidity is way higher than what I'm used to it being in this area of Texas. So we get out there, man, and I want to say I put a 99 or a 6 flat on the car knowing I just ran a 98. Car proceeded to run a 604. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what just happened here, right? So let's dive into it. Crew Chief is very, very good, but Crew Chief does not predict the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. It's one thing I feel like everybody should know that. I don't care what predictor you're using. I don't care what weather app you're using. None of that matters. The racetrack is not predictable by a system. This is why AI will never replace a human. If I would have took my behind out there and stepped on that track before round number 1 showed up, maybe I would have caught what I feel like a lot of people got caught by on Friday. Casey, we talked about a few streams back where sometimes the track is just too good. Maybe there's a caveat we should have put in there. Whenever the weather's good, whenever it's not 100 degrees outside, whenever there's not so much humidity. Because the track was terrible. And it's the only way that I can put it because I'm feeling like that's I'm not going to sugarcoat what I know a lot of people felt at that race. I know cars that were there that are set up really, really well that lost a 10th from round 1, from time run to round 1. So I blame a lot of that on the heat, guys. I do. I blame a lot of that on the heat. That's what I'm going to stick to. I know there's some other opinions flying out there. With a few questionable thought processes that I actually heard as well, but let's just blame it on the heat, Casey. But all aside from that, I found my way a couple rounds in and just could not find it. got out there and took 25 to be 5 thou under on one round and ended my day pretty short. So that's day number one, Casey.
Yeah, at least ultimately, at least you're racing. That's number one. Being there, you can't win the race if you don't show up. As far as the track prep situation goes, like you said, we were talking about that in a few streams ago, probably a few streams period. But I would say, when you're talking about a big race, I guess we got to kind of walk back on what we were talking about. We were saying earlier, the track was almost too good in our previous conversations, and it was turning it into a practice tree race. And then you think about it, and now we kind of have come to the decision that, well, I paid a large expense to race a big money bracket race, so the track should be that good. So I don't know. It's quite the conundrum, I guess, just being like, man, do we want it to be a practice tree race? Because, I don't really know. I don't honestly know what to think about it. I'm kind of eating my words on the previous thoughts that I had.
Yep. I got a couple comments over here on the YouTube side too, and this is exactly what we like about going bracket racing. Everybody's thought process needs to be typed in the chat so we can just talk about it. Coming out of Super Comp here, he says, no offense, I think you might need a tune on the suspension a little, George. It's bouncing and other cars were faster than yours and going down it. And I actually agree with you a little bit there. I've known that my truck bounces in the back almost since I've had it, if I want to be honest with you. I've known for a long time that car is going to bounce, especially off the hit, right? The thing that I also know is that if you want to look at my Crew Chief Pro tickets, and on hot tracks, cold tracks, marginal tracks, good tracks, the car will repeat the number to the thou. There's very few people who know that. I know Casey knows it because, well, that's one of the guys who I told you guys whenever I'm at a racetrack, his cell phone can get through to mine. I'm on Do Not Disturb, but Casey can call, right? And a few others. But so I get the comment. I do. I get that there's definitely a factor that says, a bad track shows a bad tune-up. There really is. But I got a few people who I know for a fact whose car runs similar to me, a little bit faster, but had the same exact problem, who I promise you, and I won't name drop because there's no point in doing so, I promise you that car is tuned to go down dirt. And if it struggled to go down the track, then obviously we got a problem here. And I know a couple. I know a few cars that I want to tell you, you probably could buy my race car 4 or 5 times, and you still wouldn't have enough money to buy the race car that I'm talking about that had the same exact trouble and a little bit worse than me. So where I did want to point to, man, maybe I need new shocks, maybe I need new tires, maybe I need a suspension tune-up. Several passes besides my own prove that. But I do think you're right. There are some things that I can work on my end.
Well, one person in here that we know has good cars is Rocky McLean, and he says nobody's car is good at the Motorplex. So I kind of feel like that might back up a little bit of what you're saying about the track prep issue, just simply because we know Rocky's capable of winning anywhere.
He won one. I think he won the 10K warm-up. Yeah.
He's always got winning stuff, and he's got, if not the best equipment, very high tier equipment. I know he got a brand new car recently, and I would trust what he's saying.
Yeah.
And it's 4-link dragster, best of the best brand new stuff. 4-link dragster ought to go down anywhere.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to name any names, dude. I won't. If they get on here and say you can name my name, then I will say who I'm speaking about. And these are what I would call big, even if they don't travel as far as most people do. These are big money bracket racers that I'm alluding to. Not like the Weekend Warrior George you're looking at here. Yeah, I'll go to the local big money race that I can, that I can get out of the house and have a great time at. Because I had a great time. Don't get me twisted, right? But the story will change here come Saturday about old Mo and how he kind of found himself, because I was definitely not on the tree, as Casey will tell you. He didn't call me just for sake of not trying to knock me out of my groove, but he told me I should have took out 10 like round 2, and I didn't take out a single ounce out of my box. But here nor there, we'll get there, man. Rocky McLean, man, good job. I'm gonna tell you what, Casey, man, is next time we have a power ranking, it's about doggone time we make sure that Rocky McLean guy is on the doggone list. I don't care what my wife will tell you. Every race she comes to, Rocky McLean done won that thing.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's so many people out there that you forget because you don't consider them a big name, but they fly under the radar. Rocky's one of them. Nick Folk's one of them. It's Chris Bear a lot of times will fly under the radar. Dude, there's a lot of these guys that whenever people do power rankings, including ourselves, that we just forget about, and then all of a sudden, I want to say we did one maybe last year for the TV race at Gateway, and we made this big old power ranking with 20 drivers, and Rocky said, "I'll show you guys," and goes and wins a 50-grander, I think, or maybe that was the year prior. I don't remember, but I do know Rocky won a 50-grander at Gateway.
Right. As one of my computers are frozen. Hopefully we didn't lose anybody there, but I got one computer froze. I'm not going to touch it, and hopefully you guys let me know if we're still live on that Facebook side or the YouTube side. Casey, you still see us on YouTube?
Yeah, as far as right now goes, it looks like everything's still good.
Man. We'll just keep pushing in. We'll keep pushing. I don't know what's going on over here, but yeah, so definitely one of those names we're going to have to make sure we we got to keep him in the forefront. He goes down to St. Louis, he wins, comes back up here. Like, man, if he's heading up to the 250K or any of those bigger races for TB, I expect to see him deep in the rounds there too. So, pretty good stuff for sure.
Man, we've had a couple weekends out here in North Carolina, local bracket racing, where we've had tons and tons and tons of cars lately. And I don't know if that's just because the weather's been so good. I'm sure that contributes to it. But the Big John Memorial Race, which always has a ton of cars at Rockingham, they had like 500 or 600 cars at Rockingham. This is what was really cool, though. 91 junior dragsters. 91.
Whoa. That's quite a bit, man. That is quite a bit of cars, man. And glad to see
that's
it.
Like,
that's our generation. That's our next generation.
And that's like the car count that they used to have, 30 years ago almost, whenever I was running them, when they were brand new, and like you could buy them out of Jegs and make your own for like $300 or $400. And, it was a lot easier to get into. So to see that many junior dragsters is always great, because like you said, that's the future of the sport. All those people are going to continue to keep the gates open for us. Rockingham having that many cars, great to see them. They kicked back more to the racers because they had so many cars. Rockingham's constantly putting all the money back into the track, making the track better and better and better. So if there's a track that has to be able to make a fistful of money, I love it whenever it's guys like that are going to dump the money back into the track.
Yeah, man, no question about it. And a good place to support as well. You know what I mean? Shaving the track, whatever it might be, that track is state of the art. We spoke to those guys at PRI, and they mentioned that they were going to put their hearts into it, and obviously they weren't joking around. You know what I mean? So, But no, as we continue, man, with the Spring Stampede, we go into Saturday and managed to find my way into the 5th round, Casey, and that ain't by way of, just crushing it on the tree and getting the job done. A lot of Crew Chief Pro action, as Nova Fan says. Hey, he bought Crew Chief Pro based on the back of GBR saying it's worth it. Hey, man, we appreciate you saying that on here, too. Anybody who doesn't have Crew Chief Pro, you need to rethink that in your off-season, even right now, as you try to figure out what you're going to do to improve your program. Even if it's for the logbook alone, I love being able to go back and look at similar weather based on a run that I've made. That's just something I like doing, and it's at my fingers. But as we go into Saturday, Casey, man, and I mean, Mo varied 3,000 to the 330. So if I was dialed 6 flat, he was running 6 flat. And if I was dialed 602, well, I was lying. Okay, that's pretty much all I got, because there was nothing The only thing I needed to do is what you mentioned, Casey. I could have grabbed 10 out of that box. I was hitting the tree good, and I was anywhere from 12 to 16. 12 to 16, just about the whole day. I could have grabbed 10 out of there, man, or at least talked to you and maybe took like 7. And that would have put me in a really good position to even get past the round that I lost. But it was pretty fun to get to go 5 rounds. We had some friends come out to the track, and I think they may have fell in love for the first time at the track, and the boy that, their son loved it. We might have made a new junior dragster team out of that, guys, because they're looking for a junior dragster now. So keep your eyes open. Brand new racer might be coming to the asphalt after that one.
Yeah, man, that's always good. The and the number one thing I always tell everybody is you can't be scared of the tree. Everybody's scared of the tree, and that's usually your 3rd and 4th round exit guy. You can't be scared to red light. Think about it. If you can't remember the last time you red lighted, and I'm not talking about one time, I'm talking about multiple times in a day, then you're not hitting it hard enough.
Yeah.
That just is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you literally can't remember the last time you took yourself out, you're not hitting it hard enough, and that's why you're not winning. So you can never be scared of the tree ever. You always got to be aggressive on the tree, because if you start the race behind, then you're going to end the race behind a lot of times.
I think that's a fact too, man. And Casey, man, one thing I've talked about on this show, a little bit about my own program, is when it gets dark, sometimes it just glares at me. And I don't know if it's because my glasses are kind of glare. They're supposed to be glare resistant, but if you can see, it gives a blue hue every now and then. And man, I will catch a light and be 7th red in a heartbeat. And that was my fear the whole time, Casey. It's like, man, if I pull that 10 and actually catch this bad boy as good as I know I can, I'm going to be just a few thou red, and I'm going to be angry. And that's why I didn't touch it. So, but you're right, though, because the next day, I pulled out that 10. I'm 006 dead 5 or something. Laying down a pretty good lap. You know what I mean? So,
it's a lot easier to lay down a good lap whenever you're good on the tree.
Yeah, man. Colin, thanks for stopping by. One of these days, I'll have some GBR merch on hand and be able to hand out that. And I'll always have stickers, though. Thanks out to Syntex Printing. If you need stickers, anything, decals, brochures, you got to holler at Syntex. But, hey, guys, hang in there for a quick second. We're going to go ahead and jump over to that beautiful part of the GBR stream. I know my man Tom Worthington will jump in and let me know here in a second that, it's time to give some love to our marketing partners. So don't go anywhere. We'll come back with a few more topics and talk some drag racing. Hang in there.
Innovation never sleeps at Proform, and we're making our popular Black Race Series carburetors even better by adding new features that will set them apart from the competition. Some of the newest features include a newly designed main body with contoured Venturas for better airflow, and a new inside and outside 2-step down leg boosters for increased atomization and better throttle response. Also, newly designed fuel bowls with increased internal baffling for better fuel control and a lower fuel ramp for reduced turbulence. There are also some new upgrades to point out. The fuel bowls now both include nitrofill floats, and the throttle base plate now has slabbed shafts for better airflow. These new features, combined with a fully adjustable high-flow main body with screw-in air bleeds, billet metering blocks, high-performance billet throttle base plate, and aluminum fuel bowls with sight glass windows, makes for a great street strip carburetor that packs a punch.
BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts. Have a look at top selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177. All right, welcome back on Bracket Racing. Thanks for joining us. We can't do it without you guys. The community, you guys keep us going, keep the sport going. Thanks for showing up at all these local races that we talk about, ones we don't talk about even. Thanks for showing up, showing out there. If you're turning on some win lights, good job. Make sure you look at these sponsors below here: the Syntex Printing, the Ken Jones Performances, Crew Chief Pro, TSR Racing Products, Proform Parts, Driven Racing Oil, BRG Motorsports 3D printed parts, 8th Mile Apparel, my friends over at Team 14 Motorsports, Gearhead Solutions. All these ones that have been here with us for quite a while now, and we appreciate you and everything you do for the Going Bracket Racing community. If you'd like to get your name down there below on the list or above on the list, don't matter where you want it, hit up those guys over at Your Ad here. That's Casey and George. Best customer service you're going to get. Push your product out as hard as we can to the bracket racing community as a whole. Hit us up, goingbracketracing@gmail.com. Casey, we got a couple of more topics to talk about, man, as I made an early round exit on Sunday and couldn't just, man, I guess it's a round we should talk about because we did kind of tease this topic a little bit, kind of piggybacking off of what Biondo was talking about a little bit last night, the single versus the double. I might have ran into that situation a little bit, man, and one thing I should have done was just ran my race. But either way, I lost a little bit on the track that wasn't going to allow me to get to the finish line in the first place by 3,000. I raced the same guy twice, Casey. I did. Let's talk strategy. Your strategy changing? Is your strategy staying the same? This person has already saw you put down a lap. What are we doing there?
If I won, I always just figure, well, they couldn't beat it the first time. And ultimately, depending on who that person is, if you're at a big money race where you're doubled, and whoever that would be you're meeting in 5th round, then in my mind, they're going to outdrive you on the finish line anyway. So why are you going to try to play their game? First of all, why change something up that already worked? And second of all, they would expect you to change something up. So technically you already have. And third of all, the most important thing that people always seem to forget about is in bracket racing, the best package wins. What can you do that ultimately will make you have the best package? What are you best at? Because if it's hold numbers, do that. If it's spot dropping, do that. If it's spraying to get there, do that. If it's hit the tree and run the number, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get to 15 total, whatever it is. If you get 15 total, whatever way you get there, doesn't matter. That's a good run, and that's going to win most of the time.
Yep. And I took the opposite route, guys. And so the first race was tight enough. I think it was a 5 thou at the stripe, something like that, between me and this old boy. And I had 2 in my hand, and I wasn't catching him. So everybody knows what's going to happen if you're holding just a little bit and you ain't getting there. Well, I didn't feel like I was 40 on the tree. It could be the case, right? But I definitely didn't feel like I was 40, so I got behind, stayed behind. The next pass, I came out and I dialed him up a little bit different. I hoped that he would try to run me the same exact way, saw what happened the round before, and my car just gave up a little bit. So definitely worth talking about here. As Biondo mentioned, one of the main... first off, let me just put it this way. He did say that he thought you don't have to be doubled to win the race. I mean, I think anybody knows that. You don't have to be doubled to win it. But, man, your odds do go up substantially more. It's a good shot. Yeah. You got more chances. And then another thing, and one I wanted to talk about with you the most, kind of on the same topic. Let's just say I run against Casey first round, and Casey whoops my behind. But I'm double. Now Casey got to see me again in the 5th round or the 4th round or whatever round we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have used myself as an example because it's probably going to be an even race between me and you one way or the other. But if I'm using, say, a big name, a Bart Nelson, I see his name in here. Mr. I'm going to average 005 at the OG Million, if not less. Yeah. You got to race him twice. You beat him once. The odds of beating him twice don't technically fall in anybody's favor. What do you think?
I know I've heard the majority of my life that everybody always says that, man, I already beat him one time. Now I got to beat him again. I can tell you right now that, that's all irrelevant. When I was younger, that would kind of get in my head a little more. Now I really don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter whoever I'm running. I don't care if it's Jeff Serra in the other lane. I don't care if it's one of the Pascal brothers in the other lane. I don't care if it's you in the other lane. I don't care if it's some dude in a streetcar in the other lane. I'm running whatever I'm running anyway, and I'm going to try to put down the best run, and I really don't care. That's why I always kind of wonder why, people always, once or twice a year, you see a big hubbub on Facebook about people complaining about staging games or wheel turning and all this crap. And it's like, dude, if you don't want to play it, don't play it. Like, that's your fault too. It's not like, I'll never forget. I was sitting on my couch when I was still living in Denver. I was sitting on my couch, and that was the time where Johnny Ezel turned the wheel and turned it off and turned it back on. And dude red lighted because he got timed out because he didn't know what was going on. That's that dude's fault. That's not Johnny's fault. That's that dude's fault because he was playing his game and he should have just went in, but he didn't know what he was doing. Sure. So, I mean, ultimately, it's none of that stuff matters. You just line them up, stage them up, do the best you can, and the best man wins every single time. That's the one thing about bracket racing. The best man wins every single race.
Statement. True statement. Best package, lay it down, do what you got to do. And I'll take a little bit from that, So I've done something different and I probably shouldn't have, but it's okay. Next, Casey, because we gotta bag up 1 second here. I feel like we do need to mention this one. This happened at Flickr event too. I know most of you saw it on Motor Mania live. It may not be there any longer, right? But let's talk about the foot brake car, and let's not name any names because that's just what we do. That I don't know if he was timed out or if he was backed out of the beams, but my thought process says he backed out of the beams. Is that even possible?
Not for a foot brake car. If you're in drive and you're stalled up on the converter, you can't. It's not possible to back out as a foot brake car. Like if you were a trans brake car, if it was pro or mod eliminator, whatever it is that it's called in your area, and you're trans braking and you're just leaving off the bottom on a trans brake, yeah, you can roll back in that scenario if you don't have the band adjustment right or fluid pressure isn't right or any of that stuff. It can roll back or rock or something like that. But if you're foot braking, I mean, think about it. Think about this. If you go in your truck, your street truck, like your towing truck,
yep,
and you go on a hill right now, like not a big hill, but like a small hill, and you're sitting at a stoplight and you let off the gas and you're not touching the brake, what's it doing? It doesn't roll backwards. It's not, if anything, it's holding itself there. Why is that? Because that's how fluid dynamics work. That's how everything works inside the transmission and converter and everything. It's trying to pull itself forward when you're in forward. If he was in reverse, different story, but he's obviously not in reverse or he couldn't stage. So yeah, that's physically impossible for that to happen.
Yeah, quite a shocker too that ended up happening at this race, and I wouldn't know what to do from a race director's standpoint, how to go about what to do with that particular race. But from a no box car, I really thought that that car shouldn't be rolling back unless something is skewed. Maybe he's staged and he's not technically staged fully. Something of that nature had to have been the case here, but had a lot of questions about that particular incident as well, or that particular segment of the race, I should say. And just thought I'd get some comments. Anybody who has any comments, just let us know here. But yeah, that's what I had on that one, Casey.
Yeah,
I know you heard about it. Everybody heard about that one.
Yeah, we have Tom Worthington, an old racer, here over in the chat talking about double entries and twice the opportunities to win. And yeah, I did. Old racer saying, yeah, Casey did the math in the past episode. Yeah, I did do the math. It might have been I don't think it was last year. I want to say it was the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this a long time. You don't know. It's 195th episode here, but one of those previous episodes, we were actually breaking it down. And again, I say this 1,000 times, but if you ever want to see round by round results, anything that was televised on Motor Mania, you can look at dragstory.com and find the round by round results of whatever race was on there. And I went there and I took 15 major races. I think that was as many as I could just highlight and copy and paste, because when it's AccuTime, it's PDF and you can't highlight it. But anyway, I put them all in a program, and I did all the statistics on it. And based upon the people that I 100% knew for a fact that were doubled in all those races, like the Overkill Motorsports, the Corey Gillettis, the Jeff Serras, like the Johnny Ezels, the people you know for a fact are going to be doubled every single time. I looked through all those people and added all those people up and figured out where they were at. And I found out that it doesn't double your chances. It like 1.5 or 1 2/3 your chances of winning the event if you are a double entry versus a single entry. Again, there were people that were single entered that won those races. But if you were a double entry, you had it like increased your odds by like 166%. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's significantly higher if you're a double entry.
Very, very interesting. I remember that math myself, and it definitely was just more than one extra entry that you came up with there. And I'm guessing a lot of people know this, but I got to do this too, man. As I'm looking over here, I see my man JP Miller is in the chat on the Facebook side. And congratulations on your win at one Mad Dog event last week. Was watching those passes from afar, and I had a pretty good feeling that you was getting ready to wrap one up, JP. So, way to close the deal, man, and hopefully you get you a couple more. That probably jumps you up pretty high on the points chase if there is one.
Yeah, me and Kevin Carpenter were down there in the boonies because they had a record car count actually this weekend at Farmington, 310 entries. And so we were parked way out in the middle of nowhere, and JP kept texting me because we couldn't hear down there. And he said, "Hey, man, we're up here. You guys need to get up here." So I remember one time I came back. JP was in his car and had the window net up and everything. And I'm up here getting ready to go to the bathroom on my four-wheeler. And I saw JP in there, and he does one of these. And I said, "Oh, man." I turned around. I said, "We got to go. We got to go."
Get in there and get dressed, man. Get dressed.
I'm riding back on the four-wheeler like 35, 40 mile an hour, blasting back, being like, "We got to get going." So we made it.
That 450 index stuff seems to be catching up pretty good, head of steam out that way.
Yeah, super cool, man. All the people were really cool. Technically I was at one, but it broke. I was still halfway limping along this last time. The short story is high gear only. I know the Chevelle goes 489, 157 mile an hour. So we can go the ET. Put that into perspective. A guy in front of me, I think it was Chad Tilley, he went 444 at 154 or something like that. So I went 3 more mile an hour than him. Which I know obviously I've already gone deep into the 40s and pedaled it one time and could have gone in the 30s easily, probably mid to high 30s easy. So, it'll do it. No problem. It's just a matter of just working bugs out, man. What I got coming now, parts I got coming now, I know what I did wrong, and I'm going to fix that. And I think we'll be good to go. I think June 28th is the next Mad Dog race. They've been getting every race we've been to has been record Mad Dog count. The first race I think was record. Second race was a record, and the third race was even another record. So they keep getting more and more. Dude, they had last race this last weekend. They had 21 450 door cars there. That's a lot, dude. 450 door cars. That's not like 470 is a little easier. But the 450 cars, that's a totally different thing. Those are like, Adam always calls them baby pro mods, is what he always calls them.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's just good to see. I saw the qualifying list, and I've kind of paid attention. I know you're going to be out there, so I've paid attention the last couple times that they've had that race, and it seems like the list just growing. So hopefully it keeps moving, keeps getting bigger and bigger. But got Bowker in here, Jim Bowker. comes in and says, I imagine most people are more aggressive when they have 2 entries left. I know I am. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case across the board. Case in point, Casey would have told me to pull 10. If I had been doubled, that 10 would have been gone a long time ago. I'm going to shoot at it until I see red light. And if I don't, well, somebody's going to be in trouble. Pulling 10 out of the box, I'd have been set up trip zip, basically. Casey. So
yeah, I mean that's how I've always driven that way. Whenever I'm doubled, if I'm doubled, then I'll depending on how I'm feeling, I'll set up 3 to 5 if I'm doubled until I lose one, and then I might set up 8 to 10 or something like that. But I mean, that's the thing. That's what a lot of people forget about, is that the reason these guys win so much is because, first of all, you have to be aggressive on the tree. I don't care. Yes, Scotty Richardson always said if the green light's on, you can still win the race. Yes, you can, but you also have to be as talented as he was at the finish line to be able to win those races and make that happen. There are not a lot of people that can do that, but there's a lot of people that could go a lot harder at the tree that don't, because they're scared to red light.
That's correct.
And most of the time, dude, I'm telling you right now, if you let go and you're 16 in North Carolina, you let go and you're 16, you're probably losing anyway at a normal top bowl bracket event. So you might as well have been red, because that other guy next to you, he's pulling 10 out. He's setting up. People out here set up 5 to 8. I mean, if it's green, you better be good, because they already got a number on you if you miss it.
Yep. No, I think it's getting that way pretty well anyway at this point. I know it's that way out here at XRP. Anytime you go to XRP, you better bring your A game. Generally speaking, that's going to be a place of pretty tight racing. No matter what race it is, and I can't wait for the Pennington race and to be able to broadcast it across the GBR airways so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You'll see some tight packages out there at this event coming up. I want to say it's 2 weeks out, so be watching. We'll be having some live stream coming up pretty soon. So, because I feel like there's one more conversation we were meaning to have, and might have lost my train of thought. I know the motorcycle thought process was one of them, if we want to touch that real quick. And, we were talking earlier today and trying to figure out why some motorcycles might not be allowed in certain events. Any thoughts on that? Because we know they run with the pro class pretty well everywhere we go on the 2 wheels. Opening and closing the motorcycles to the event is basically like allowing one more pro car into the field. Talk to me on why we wouldn't let bikes in the classes, or at least give me your thoughts.
Well, I can see it both ways. I can see the main thing is it's kind of dangerous for motorcycles to race with cars. And this being said, I'll preface this. I've probably ridden more miles across this country on a motorcycle than most people. So I'm definitely not a motorcycle hater by any means. I've had lots of them. I've had a whole bunch of them. I own motorcycles. I own street bikes for like 20 years. And I'd still have one right now, but I can't afford to race and have a motorcycle. So I can see it from that perspective. I can also see a lot of guys not wanting to race motorcycles just because how do you race a motorcycle? You might run one in your entire life. I've never raced a motorcycle against a motorcycle ever. I've raced a motorcycle, but I've never raced against one.
Right.
But I think, I don't know. As far as totally excluding them, you need to say, if you're going to exclude them, you need to totally exclude them and say, this is why. Either it's a safety thing, either it could be simply 300 racers are supporting this event and they don't want to run motorcycles. That's fine. I think people would understand that. They would say 300 guys versus one guy. You're not going to make one guy happy to make 300 guys pissed off. That's understandable. But it probably needs to be said, because ultimately the statement of, well, I opened it up at one point and nobody entered. PDRA had that recently, and they got rid of a motorcycle class, but that's because it was its own class with its own sponsors and all this stuff. And PDRA went out on a limb and said, we're going to have this 460 bikes or whatever it was. And they got the class sponsored and the payouts all scheduled and everything, and 0 bikes showed up. So how are you going to, how can you not give that sponsor his money back now because no one showed up for something that he paid for? You can't do that. I can't tell you I'm going to come cut your grass at your house and then not show up and just say, well, thanks for the money, I just didn't come, because that's what happened. Yep. But I don't know. I mean, that's literally up to the promoter. It's their judgment, is what it is. They're putting on the event. They can do whatever they want.
Yep.
But they probably need to have an explanation as to why, really, other than just because.
Yeah, I would like to think it's not the safety aspect of it, too. We all sign waivers when we go into these tracks for the most part. I really don't know very many that don't have a waiver in the beginning. I feel like it's just as dangerous to do any type of racing that we're going to be doing in the first place. Those boys want to run on two wheels, well, then dang it, let them two-wheel machines out there, But just had a thought on that one. I feel like I had something else too, Casey, man, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with it. What you got left in the old vault of things today?
What races are? What are you looking forward to? There's a whole lot of racing on Motor Mania. Obviously, GBR is going to be streaming some stuff here. Is that this month?
Yeah, we got one coming out this month for sure on GBR, live on our YouTube channel, most likely on our Facebook page too. But what am I looking forward to watching? I will say this: I saw that Ace race out there. I didn't get to watch as much of it as I wanted to, but man, Dragway 42 is making its way to my bucket list very, very quickly. I really like that racetrack, man. So watching that, hey, we're definitely gonna have to try to get out there. Anything they got going on, I have to imagine their ITRA is gonna do something major out there. So that'd be one I'd like to watch. OG, of course.
I'll tell you something.
Nice too. Go ahead.
I agree. I'll tell you something as far as this weekend goes. Sean Sarah race at Galat Motorsports Park. Not the race itself, really, but the 1,000-foot shootout they're going to do. 48-car 1,000-foot shootout. That's going to be very cool because you're going to see, I'm sure Corey Galletti will get in that with his fast car. Probably go 560s, 570s to the 1,000-foot. And I've always thought that's just a very cool aspect of you could have Corey dialed 560 something in the 1,000-foot versus, a 650 door car, which would be in the 1,000-foot, probably like the 790 range or the 8-second range. I've just always thought that's cool. See the big hard charge. I mean, I don't know what Corey would run in 1,000-foot, but I would think he'd probably run 175 mile an hour. Maybe more, maybe 180.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I'm at, man. That is going to be interesting to watch. I think it's got kind of a mega week this week is what Edward Tavares is kind of alluding to. And we know that he watches the stream chat bleachers for GBR, Motor Mania, Bank, all of them. So this is a moderator we're talking to. And so there's going to be a lot to watch this weekend, obviously. So.
Yep. And I want to say next week is the Ultimate 64, which, of course, turned into the Ultimate 128 last year. And right. What did TB do? They basically doubled everything through. They made it, but they didn't put all the money on top. They split it up. They just doubled everything down. So it was like 100 to win, 50 to runner up, 25 to semi. It was basically split evenly all the way back. Extremely, extremely cool deal. I would not be surprised if they ended up doing that again this year. Maybe it needs to be turned into a 128.
I wouldn't either, but it brings back what I was originally gonna bring up as kind of the closing topic here, Casey. Because races like that start in the morning. You get your first round hit at 9. You might not get your second hit until 4:35 o'clock. Now I know Beach Bend got the doggone water park right next door. We can find something to do. And I think, I don't remember whose post I saw, but she alluded to the fact that, hey, I'm going to win first round and I'm going straight to the water park after that. Like, that don't sound like a bad idea. It's going to be hot out there no matter what at Beach Bend. But, Casey, man, I think maybe we might have to save it for a new stream, but maybe it's a good topic for the next one. What's a good game plan for that long of a wait between round 1 and round 2 if you don't have anything in Bob X?
Man, I don't know. That's tough because I do think that I do think someone who went through the buyback round in a scenario like that, where it's how many hours would that be? That'd be 7 hours until you run again. It's a totally different track. I mean, I guess at the same time, I could say if it's that long, you can just cut it in the middle and say, okay, well, you lose first round at 9, and then you make your buyback run at, say, 12 or 1.
Yeah.
Well, 4 is still a long way away from 12 or 1. You know, as far as track conditions are concerned, depending on the time of year, the sun could be setting and going down. And so on one hand, you could say everybody's still kind of in the same boat. I would definitely rather have made a run more recently than 7 hours. But ultimately, I mean, you got Crew Chief Pro software. You ought to be fine in theory. You'll at least have a general idea of where you need to be at. I think, honestly, the moral of the story is if you are running races where that is commonplace, then you need Crew Chief Pro software. You need something that will help you predict your ET. You don't have to 100% rely on it, but having a second opinion, being like, I think it's going to slow down, and it says, I think it's going to slow down, it sure is a lot easier to trust what's happening and what numbers on your car whenever you have a second opinion that is more times than not correct.
That is 100% correct. And I would also say that's more so the right way to utilize the software, especially if you're not capturing the wind data or the track temperature or any of the grip and things of that nature. If you got all of that information, Crew Chief's going to tell you down to the T what you want, however. But you definitely look at that program, and if it says you're going to slow down, you know you are going to slow down. Period. If it says you're going to speed up, well, you got a little bit more of a, something to go by. Hey, you're going to speed up a little bit here. The air's getting a little bit better, especially around that dusk range where the track starts to get better. The air gets maybe get a little bit better, but the track temperature is definitely going to come down quite a bit, and Crew Chief is telling you you're going to speed up. Well, track temperature's down. Temperature's down, that's conducive to a few thou going to the other direction faster, generally not slower. So, Casey, man, you hit the nail on the head there. So if that's not how you're using Crew Chief, or if you use it differently, come school me, Don Higgins. I could probably use a couple lessons, man, if you want to, school me up a little bit more on the software too. So,
hey, man, one thing's for sure, the guy who developed Crew Chief Pro and in that last race that I was watching him down there in Florida, I want to say it was in Bradenton or whatever, he was going round after round after round until the spark plug went out.
Yep. No question about it, man. And be honest with you, if you guys roll through the pits, let's just be honest. Roll through the pits and look up into some of those big racers trailers there. And the majority of them will have a program that you might not have ever seen before, and it's probably called Crew Chief Pro in the first place. So there's that too, man. There's that too. I'm not saying you got to be like everybody else, but just saying. Casey, man, what you got in closing? We here. 5 o'clock is up on us.
Nothing, man. Appreciate everybody, of course. Listen to episode 195 of the Going Bracket Racing Podcast. We're live every single Tuesday for the most part, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central Time. If you want to catch us live, if you prefer to listen to it, you can always listen to it on Spotify. Don't forget to hit the like and the share and the subscribe and all that stuff. Helps us out, helps it get in the algorithm, get more of this bracket racing out to everybody. If you want to keep seeing these big events, obviously the way to do that is to have more racers, and the more people to get interested in the sport is better for all of us. And the Going Bracket Racing Podcast is where they can learn more and more about the sport and get all the excitement and feel to make them want to come. So
yeah, keep those emails coming too, guys. We read them at all times. And comments, questions, thoughts, anything you got, send them over. goingbracketracing@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at Going Bracket Racing. On YouTube, I think you can find us by GBR. And if you can, I'll start working on that to where you can. Everybody knows Going Bracket Racing by GBR, seemingly. So thanks for joining in. And we'll see you guys most likely next Tuesday, but probably the Tuesday after, because I'm probably going to be on the beach. So I ain't doing GBR from the beach. See you guys later. Peace out.